Alright lads, did you know over on Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade that we have access to 7 hidden titles? Titles that you have to complete a certain challenge to unlock, but the thing is they don't tell you what you have to do. But that's what I'm here to do in today's video. If you want to get access to some really cool unique titles, these are the challenges you want to complete. For our very first challenge, to get the Accomplished title, we're going to want to finish any quest with a cooperative ultimate between Yuji and also Nobara. And this is one that you would have likely done just by naturally playing the game, especially if you do own SSR Nobara and also Yuji. This can be completed with lower rarity characters, so in my case we are going to use SSR Yuji and also the rare version of Nobara. And to make this easier, we're going to go into a very early quest, Chapter 1, Episode 2. And all we have to do is just build up our ultimate gauge by the time we get to the final quest, which is super easily done. Your character might be a bit too OP if you are using someone like Yuji or Nobara, so if you find yourself beating the quest too fast, then just go to a higher difficult quest. That way you can get your ultimate up, but I think it's going to be relatively fine. In the case for Yuji, you can just always use the second skill to charge his ultimate a tad bit faster. But from the looks of it, you don't have to really worry about our ultimate gauges not being ready for the final boss. In this case, both of them are ready. And this stage in particular, lucky for us, only has one enemy, so we can quickly finish up with a cooperative attack from Yuji. And even if you kill with the first character, it's fine. The character will also come through doing their second ult. There we go. We get the cooperative ultimate. Looking clean, might I say. And with that, we should unlock our title. As you can see there, clear any quest with a cooperative ultimate between Yuji and also Nobara. And that's how we get the Accomplished title. Our next title is Domain Expansion. The challenge for this one is to use any character's ultimate that activates a domain expansion. Simple enough, but in this game we only have access to 2 characters that can use domain expansions, that being the recently released Megumi and also Nanami. Nanami is a free character that you can get later on, not accessible right now as we just started the game recently, and Megumi might be a character you do not own. What you can do instead is go to a very early quest, like again, Chapter 1, Episode 2. Only use Gojo as your main, and then bring a Megumi friend. In this case, lucky for me, I do have access to one, and then begin the quest. Now, of course, the one special thing about Gojo is that he does end up leaving the field after 7 turns. So what you can just do is spend the first 7 turns buffing. And once these 7 turns do pass, Megumi will come in. Alternatively, you could just use a level 1 character and just have them die. But if you're on a super early quest like this, chances are they won't even kill your character. But if you want to do it like this, you definitely can. Just have Gojo tank all the hits. And he's going to leave in this current turn. And then that will allow Megumi to come in as a substitute. And again, all you got to do now is just build up his ultimate gauge. Super easily done. If the Megumi you are using is also a good level, he's not going to die. And you can see this by wave 1, we already have our ultimate ready. Wave 2, we can just use our second skill. That should one-shot. There we go. And to be fair, you don't even need to use the ultimate on the final boss, but just to finish off in style, let's go ahead and do that. And there you go. With that, you should get access to the Domain Expansion title without needing to own Megumi as of right now. For our next title, it's super easily done, but it does require you doing a certain task at a certain time of the day. The challenge for this one is to send Nanami on a dispatch after 6 p.m. domain time. So what you can do right now is go to your homepage and look at the top. As you'll see here, it does actually tell us the time in game. As of right now, it's 5 a.m. for me, at least according to game time. What you want to do is send Nanami off after 6 p.m. It's between 6 o'clock to midnight, so you have around 6 or so hours during the day to do it. It can be any Nanami to an SR or SSR. It just requires you to have one type of Nanami, and it doesn't matter what dispatch it is. If you just send them off after 6 p.m. domain time, you will get the title, I'll start working overtime. It's a pretty cool title, especially if you're a Nanami fan. Super easily done. It just requires doing it at a certain time of the day. Now, if you're a Megumi fan, you're going to love this next title because this one is I Will Save People Unfairly. The challenge for this one is to beat Chapter 2, Episode 5, only using Megumi in your team. Now, whether this challenge is super trivial or maybe requires a bit of investment really comes down to if you own any SSR Megumi. If you own the incomplete one, you're likely beating it in 2 attacks. If you own the SSR base Megumi and you have him leveled up to a certain level, you would likely also easily beat him. You can even use the rare Megumi. The only requirement is to level him up maybe higher than you would want to. Personally, for me, I was able to get this challenge using a level 70 Megumi and also using the free-to-play heal recollection just so I can take enough hits from Sukuna. And after a couple turns of just using a second and also third skill, I was able to beat the challenge and ended up getting the secret Megumi title. I would like to say this is going to be super easy for a lot of players out there. It might be a tad bit awkward if you don't own an SSR Megumi, but even then, it's definitely not impossible. Our next title is one of my favorites, My Homie. The challenge is super easy. All you have to do is use Todo and also Yuji in the same team and beat any quest. It doesn't have to be the SSRs. You can use the SRs if you have access to them, or the rare Yuji too. It also doesn't even have to be just specifically these two characters, they just both need to be in the team. Like I said, you can beat any quest if you want to, so the quest we're doing right now is the very first quest in the game. Even at level 1, even if you're using the rare Yuji, even if you're using the SR Todo, you're likely going to one-shot all these enemies. You don't have to use the ultimate, you don't have to do any setup or requirement in the quest, all you gotta do is just beat it. So there we go, we beat the quest, and as you'll see, we did unlock the title, My Homie, using just Todo and also Yuji. Our next and final two titles are going to be the ones that require a bit more setup, maybe a certain character, and in some cases might be impossible for you currently watching this video. But it's something to keep in the back of your mind, maybe come back to later. But our next title is the record holder for most consecutive uses of Black Flash. And the challenge to get this title is to hit 5 Black Flashes in a row, and they mean in a row. If you use any other character that attacks in between these Black Flashes, if you hit an attack that doesn't hit a Black Flash, it will not count. So from what I've seen, the only way to possibly achieve this, the way I personally did get it, is by using the SSR Yuji. He's a very important character to own, as his second skill will not only not deal damage, it will increase his ultimate gauge, but also increase the chance to hit a critical, but also most importantly, a Black Flash. Now the best time to obtain this is by waiting for a map event. Currently right now we have access to a new map event, and in a couple days time we will get access to the score battle, where there will be a boss that has 2 phases. You want to specifically go against any of those bosses. I personally did this during the last event, but during these events you do get buffs that will actually increase the amount of curse energy you get in between turns. And because the boss has 2 phases, it does mean that you can use your ultimate twice without the worry of the boss actually dying. To make it easier, do the easiest difficulty. That way the boss, especially if you haven't worked on Yuji, will never actually kill you. Level up Yuji's second skill as much as you possibly can to make it easier, as this technically does require a bit of RNG. You do need to get lucky and hit those Black Flashes, but if you get the skill to around level 5, you're likely going to hit those Black Flash every single time. Personally for me, the way I set this up was by attacking a few times just to build up my curse energy, and when I thought the timing was right, I then continued to use my second skill. I wanted to use it twice in a row before deciding to use the ultimate, and upon using my ultimate, I will then hit 3 Black Flashes. And again, very important, you don't have any other character in your team. Likewise with Yuji, you don't deal any other attack. You want to strictly use that second skill that will increase the chance to hit a Black Flash, and also most importantly, just not deal any damage. Keep using that second skill until your ultimate is ready, and then you get to let off an ultimate, and hopefully those first 2 hits hit a Black Flash. I did this setup multiple times, and for some reason the 5th hit always failed. Like I said, it does take a bit of RNG. Sometimes you won't hit a Black Flash, sometimes you will. If you don't, just restart the quest. But using that second skill 2 to 3 times in a row, then using the ultimate, gives you your best chance to hit Black Flashes, and we were able to hit 5, in this case 6 actually, all in a row, and that way we did unlock our title. This one, for the most part, does want you to own an SSR Yuji, and it's best done during map events when the score boss is available. So you might not be able to get it right now today if you're watching this video, but in 2 days time when the score battle does return, you will be able to get it then if you do own the SSR Yuji. Our next title, Intelligence is Always Supplied. This one is going to be the more difficult one to obtain as of right now. In the future, it will become a lot more accessible. And the reason for that is because the challenge itself wants us to beat any difficulty of the Jogo Formidable Foe event. In this case, we're going to do the hard difficulty, and we only want to bring Gojo. The reason why this is difficult is because Gojo can take damage since Jogo is activating a domain. And the only way I've personally been able to pull this off is by using this much investment on one particular Gojo. So we have Gojo level 91, max grade. He has 4 duplicates invested into him, so Awakening level 4. Alongside that, my skills are level 8. My other skill is level 8. My ultimate is level 9. It's almost as max as you can potentially get as far as Gojos do go. And then alongside that, we are using the non-standard recollection, one to give us that 85% damage increase. But most importantly, at the start of each wave, we are getting 200 ultimate gauge to self. This will mean that we can ultimate on turn 4, and that's going to be just enough damage to hopefully take down Jogo before we die or before Gojo does end up leaving. Now, keep in mind, this challenge in the future will become a lot more trivial as we unlock unlock more grade levels, as we can increase our character's level cap, the more duplicates you get of Gojo in the future, the easier this challenge does become. However, also keep in mind, we do have Hollow Purple Gojo coming out at the end of the year, and he is a green character, so he does deal more damage to Jogo, and if you get Hollow Purple Gojo, this challenge will likely become super easy without the need of getting any duplicates. So what we're going to do here is attack the very first turn, just to lower his guard as much as we can, and also get that extra bit of damage, right? The next 2 turns, we are just going to buff up, because on turn 4, we are then going to get access to our ultimate, and it is thanks to the recollection that we are using. And it's perfect timing too, because we will not be able to last 1 more turn. So here we go, we need to ultimate, and even with this much investment, we do need to get a lucky critical. If we get a crit, we should be able to beat this. If not, it might be over, but we'll see how it does go. So let's off our ultimate. We got the critical, and that's what we need. If you don't get a crit, you can just retry it. But now we have 3 turns left. We have no fear of dying with Gojo. However, he will be leaving in 3 turns. So that means it's a perfect opportunity to use our buff. So our next 2 attacks will be dealing more damage. And then boom, final attack here. We beat it by himself with just Gojo. By far the most difficult challenge, something that will become easier over time, but if you have this Gojo duped out as much as I do, then it's worth trying it out because you do get a pretty rare title, which I would probably say is the rarest title in the game right now. But with that said, lads, that was the video for today, going over how to obtain all of these secret titles in Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. Honestly, the idea of these are really cool, and I would love to see more in the future. Lucky for me, I was able to get all of them, as I do have access to a really good Gojo. But like I said, some of these will become a lot more accessible and available in the future. The Black Flash one in particular, you are going to have to wait for the school battle to start in a few days' time, and then the Gojo title, you're going to have to work on your Gojo, get lucky with duplicates, or just wait for Hollow Purple Gojo, and you will be able to get that challenge done. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what titles you did get, and if you want to show support, like the video, it's very much appreciated. But I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.